Welcome to my class. In the last class, we were talking about unrestricted random sampling, and this we are going to talk about while selecting a sample. There are certain restrictions that are there, they're imposed while you're drawing out a sample, drawing out your random sampling. So, this is known as restricted random sampling. So, have a look. It's a little, you have to pay attention because it's a little difficult. It's not difficult, but yes, you have to understand. So under restricted random sampling method, certain restrictions are imposed or placed while you're taking the sample from the universe. Now these are the important methods as you see. What are they? SSM, that is systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and multi-stage sampling. Now let's just talk about the first one, that is systematic sampling. Now what happens in this? When a complete list of population is available, a sample is to take every nth item from this list. So this is why it is known as systematic or quasi-random sampling. For example, if the population has 1000 items and a sample of 20 items is to be taken. Okay. Now what happens is, so when you say 1000 divided by 20, so okay, that means 50. Every 50th item you can take, one out of every 50. So let's just take, now what happens is, so total number will be again 50 sample you will select from there. So under this method, what we do is we take the first item of the list just randomly from the first sampling interval, that is between 1 to 50. Just let us take say 10, and then what happens, then the other items will be the 50th item from there, say the 60th item, 50, add 50 more, so that becomes 110, add 50 more, the next 50th will be 160th item, add 50 to it, it becomes 210th item, and so on. So this is systematic sampling, and the merit is that it is more convenient as compared to the random sampling. There is, of course, there is saving of time and money also, and the results obtained are found to be satisfactory. So now, of course, there are some demerits, as you say, merits in everything. You look for the demerits and study them, but I find this is quite, a systematic sampling has a lot of, these are the merits. Now, let's come to the second one, stratified or mixed sampling. This method is generally adopted when population consists of different groups with different characteristics. So under this method, population or universe is divided into different stratas or groups having different characteristics, and some of the items are selected from each strata so that the entire population is represented. Now, stratified sampling is also called mixed sampling because this method involves a mixture of both deliberate sampling and random sampling. And the division of universe into stratas is deliberately done, but the selection of items from these different strata is done at random. Okay, now just like for example, I want to improve my result as a teacher in my class of 60. So I'm going to divide it on the basis of say marks, say failures below 33%, mediocres 33 to 60% perhaps, and maybe good 60 to 90, and maybe excellent 90 and above. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an assignment for the different groups and give it to them then. So that is the, say, the beauty of stratified or mixed sampling. So that way I select a few from each, and that's how then I decide what will be the difficulty level, and based on that I can design my questionnaire or assignment, questions for the assignment rather. So the merits are that the sample taken will be more representative of the universe than if it is taken from different groups of the universe. So this is the good thing about it. So, and there'll be greater accuracy. Otherwise, you know what one does, a teacher ends up making such a difficult, such an assignment which the children who are, or the students who barely can understand the subject are unable to even understand. The assignment becomes a burden. So this way it becomes easier. So it's stratified sampling. Of course, it is a little complex, but and it does need, the demerit is that it is complex and it is impossible in the absence of experts or trained personnel. And but as I give you an example, it is useful to study the special characteristics of different parts of the population, and then I'm sure there's a little justice that can be done. Now let's come to multi-stage sampling, the third. Under this method, the sample is taken out in several stages. Like for example, in the first stage, various homogeneous groups are selected from the population depending on the nature of inquiry. Then these are termed as primary sampling units. In the second stage, elementary sampling units are selected from each of these groups. Now further stages may be added as required. So that is there. Now we are going with multi-stage sampling. For example, say we can illustrate multi-stage sampling with the help of an example. Suppose we have to select a sample of 1000 households from the state of Rajasthan. At the first stage, the state is to be divided into districts, and a few districts are selected at random. Then in the second stage, each district is subdivided into villages, and out of that, villages are selected at random. And at the third stage, number of households is selected from each village. And at each stage, sampling is done by the simple random sampling then. So that is why we say that this is stratified sampling is also called mixed sampling, because this method involves the mixture of both deliberative sampling and random sampling. So this is what it is. So deliberative sampling is what you known as the non-random sampling, which we'll be doing later in the next class. All right. So the next class we are going to do the deliberative sampling.